Hi, hello. Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
So you can hear me.
Yes,
Good,
Ken.
good. Great, great. Oh wait, there's just cat coming into the picture. Wants to come to the lap.
Oh. Well, it's good to have a cat like that when you're doing press like that. I think it relieves a lot of tension and helps with emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but one thing I had to apologize right away is that they're building, fixing the house. So there's an unbelievable noise coming from behind the wall there. So not, and I can't do anything about that. So.
Well, thankfully I can't hear it right now, but if I do start to hear it, I totally understand.
Yeah, at the moment it is not, but they're fucking ripping the walls off from outside from this house and putting a new isolate insulation, how you say insulation and everything. So it's a huge noise. Just at the moment, nothing happening. So let's hope the best. But if you can hear this that the world is coming down, it's the building guys. So
Well, that fits the normal tone of Swallow the Sun with the feeling of the world coming down, so it might be appropriate.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, with all that said, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, especially with everything that's going on. A busy time right now with being in Swallow the Sun, busy stuff going on around your environment right now. It means a lot that you're taking the time.
No, thank you. Yeah, I'm like I've been telling people that I haven't been doing interviews like in 8 years. So and now I started again with this album. So thanks. It's everybody's been very nice and and it's been going smoothly so far. So
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm even more honored that you took the time to do that, and I can't
no,
wait
it's
to talk about
you know
some
it's
great music.
it hasn't been any interviewer's fault. It's just my own personal reasons that I haven't been doing so. But it's been going quite good
Oh,
so far. Hey, so far.
oh, so far. But yeah, hoping to continue that trend here and talking about the brand new album from Swallow the Sun, which I got the promo about a week and a half ago, and I've been listening to it every single day, really just dissecting it. Swallow the Sun just means so much to me. It's one of the most cathartic bands that I could listen to.
Oh.
It's just I've gone through a lot of darkness and tragedy in my life, and it's great to have a band that really matches the tone of all of that. Although with this particular album, like I've been saying this to people who haven't heard the album yet, but like all the previous albums to me feel like dark clouds, and this particular album feels like the silver lining. Like I feel a lot more optimistic. I get a little more smiles out of this one. Like there's particular riffs that I hear that bring me a lot of joy instead of just feeling sadness all the time. And in another way, this feels like a very cathartic album too, because even though it still has those moments of sadness to me, I mean that's always going to happen with the band. It feels more optimistic. It feels more positive. I really love this direction, and I'm glad to see that you guys are going in this route.
Well, I'm so happy that you feel it like that way. It's definitely not an happy album or in that way positive. But I understand what you mean. It's for me, which was the super important thing for myself. I always write the music for myself. Unfortunately for the fans maybe, but or other people, but I always had to write the music for myself. And with this album, I kind of like yeah, like with the Moonflowers, everything. I mean, all the music, of course. It's this new album included is very dark and very painful music. But with the Moonflowers, how the things were going with the music and everything, it started to be so almost dangerous. It was already dangerous for myself and to going so deep into the darkness and everything that you get blind about the light that is surrounding you. So with this new album, I kind of like it was the only wish for myself when writing this new music that it will be a little bit more maybe uplifting. Will be kind of like the word has this kind of like a power that like somebody slaps you in the face, like wake up, bastard, or something like that. So yeah, it's very personal and very dark album, but the music for me, it's shining. It shines. The album name should be actually Shining Dark, But then again, Shining is more powerful name for myself. So yeah, that's what the album feels like. I'm very happy that you feel that because I never wanted to bring people down with me or anything like that. And I don't think this band ever has done it. People have always been finding like a beauty and solace from the music. And that's the main thing that I hope that other people will get from this music. And it's still there. Now
Oh,
it's even more.
oh, for sure. And yeah, especially with Moonflowers. Like the first time I heard that, I did start crying. Like it did affect me that much. Like it just I could feel all the pain and sorrow that's going through there. But also again, like I really find that to be very cathartic, especially when you are going through dark times. And everybody does that, and that's why I
Exactly.
appreciate Swallow the Sun so much because it just kind of matches a lot of the emotions that I have. And but again, like with Shining, like it is such like a drastic feel almost in comparison to something like Moonflowers. Like it does have that more optimistic feel behind it, but the more that you listen to it, the more that you see that it is still a Swallow the Sun album. I mean, you're never going to be going in the pop rock route. You're never going to be singing about like going to parties and dancing the night away or anything like that. And that's not what I come for. But it's just I just appreciate that just expanding the musical palette just enough to be able to let these songs shine through, and I just really love it the more I listen to it.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you listen all our albums or all the kind of albums and songs we done, it has gone from like a super. I mean, then the ends of our music, it's been huge always. Kind of like even we are in this kind of a death doom genre, but it's like we never been afraid to do what feels right and what is right. I can only write music from the honest place that if I will do a fucking R&B album, and if it will come naturally, I will release it as a Swallow the Sun because that was the. It's not like okay, you have to have something under this name. I mean, you have to have honesty under this name, and that's the main thing. And so the music always been very. I mean, from funeral doom to super fragile acoustic stuff, and even I don't know if you know what Slager music is, but almost that kind of a music style. So we always had enough big balls to do what we want to do, and it's easy when you do everything from the from the heart and the right place.
Yeah, and before we get into Shining, I mean, that's you just explained why I love Songs of the North so much, is because it shows three different sides of the band. And I love exploring musical palettes like that, from, the stuff that sounds like the signature sound to doing stuff that has more of like a post rock or acoustic feel behind it, or just just like doing that funeral death doom dirge on the third one. Like I love all of it, and it's such a great listen to me because you got to expand so much with that and still keep the sound of what the band is all about.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that because I think that 90% of the people who listens us they have a little bit wider palette than just listening to only Cannibal Corpse or Cannibal Corpse great band. But I mean, there's lots of people who only listen that one thing, and it has to be like this, and otherwise it's trash. So, but I think that with us, it's yeah, people have a little bit like you said yourself that you kind of like live a lot through your own life, your own hardships and loves and losing and everything. You live it through the music, through your own life experience, and it is a little bit with this music. I've been saying that it's not. I'm not telling you you're not a young man. You're a young man, but it's not like a young maybe teenager music in that way. That I've been way 100 years ago. I've been teenager, so I was a little bit same too. Kind of like it has to be fast. It has to be aggressive. Otherwise, it's nothing. Well, I never was like that, but I understand that you're much more puritanistic. How do you say? With especially metal that you like. So so it takes a little bit to resonate with this music. It takes a little bit of maybe yeah I don't know. Takes a little bit. things that has to happen in a life. So unfortunately, so yeah.
Oh yeah. So, getting into the album proper, like obviously you wanted to make this kind of change, especially after writing something as dark as Moonflowers. Like, when did it start to feel like it was going into the right direction? Was there like a particular riff or a song or anything where you knew that this was the right direction to go into?
Well, I mean, I never ever planned the music or that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I don't even write any music in a month. I don't even touch the guitar or do anything on purpose at home. So I'm not like a person who writes every day something and sees if something is gonna come out this or not and has like 1,000 riffs or whatever. That's not my. It's basically never been my thing. So I just let the music grow, pile up in the back because the music plays all the time. And I live here in the middle of the forest with like there's like 10, 15 people living around this small village in the woods it's very isolated place here. So, and I go out and the music that it just pours into my head. But I don't touch on it. I just let it grow or build up on my mind. And then there is this strange force that forced me to finally to take the guitar. And then I always know, okay, it's happening again, like in Twin Peaks. It's happening again, and it is, and it happens. It happens so fast when the music it comes with such a big flood that the music just comes and it takes about 3 weeks to 1 month, and always the album is ready. And I don't remember from that time almost anything, which is quite annoying because I would love to remember to tell people how it happened. Myself, I'm also like, oh, whoa, okay, there it is now again. So in that way, it's like planning anything is totally out of question. Maybe one day I will actually try. Maybe I should try one day what happens if I kind of start to do the songs. But for some reason, I have a feeling if I will start to work on the songs and thinking about that's the day when we do our first bad album. I don't know, who knows, but I think it will be good. But I need to have it from this place, this music, because then I can always 110% stand behind the album. It's always perfect, no matter what people say, or it never affects me because I know it's perfect. Perfect album.
So, what about the rest of the guys once they started hearing the riffs? Like, what were their thoughts in this direction?
Well, I just send them the ready songs. That's what I always do. We kind of like we don't rehearse. We never rehearse. Or even now, we just went straight to the studio and everybody just learned their parts and played how they feel right. And so yeah, I know. Well, we are Finnish bastards, so we don't talk. So there's no feedback. First time I basically heard almost any feedback was like after maybe 2 or 3 months after I sent the songs to the guys. Okay, here's a new album. No words from anybody, nothing, and I don't need it. I don't need it. I know it's perfect. It's great. Well, it's perfect for me. But so yeah, that's the yeah. This band could be called No Feedback in the first place, and that's fine because that's what we are, Finnish people. We don't kind of like we don't need to tap our other on the back that much or anything. So usually it's a good sign if nobody says anything that much about it. So even with this album, I mean, we were in a studio in London working with this producer Dan, and then Mikko was doing the vocals there, and then this one Finnish newspaper, like a newspaper, asked him how is it going with the album recordings, like a little news out there because we were recording in England this the vocals there, and then I read his comment from this net site of this newspaper where Mikko said that this is our best album so far. And that was the first time I ever heard anything about him from Mikko, about anything about the music through the fucking newspapers. Oh, okay, well, nice that he actually likes the album. That, I never heard even one word from him about the music before I read it from the newspaper myself. So that tells a lot, and I love it. I love it also because that's exactly how we are, and that's good. I like it more like that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's no reason to change it if it's been working for this long. And, obviously everyone is a part of it, wanting to be a
Absolutely.
part of the recording process and, working on their parts and everything. So I'm glad to see that everything is continuing to go into the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the music comes from the right place, it's gonna go to the right direction, the right places, no matter what the direction is. Yeah, that's it can go wherever. I don't give a shit as long as I can stand 100% behind the music, and I wouldn't release anything with if I wouldn't feel like that.
Oh, for sure. So, thinking about that as well, when you were getting into the studio, like, what was it like to change up the environment a little bit? Like going over to London, working with a new producer. Was it more of the same for you? Was there any kind of changes at all?
Well, we never like work with any producers basically that much ever. We work with Jens Bokren like 2, 3 albums or how many, and he's like one of the best like metal producers in the world. But even with him, it's been more like a mixing process and kind of like producing like in that way, but not like. And even Dan Lancaster, who was now this mega producer. Fucking the guy is doing like Muse and Bring Me the Horizon and all these huge bands. So it was a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what happens here. But I'm old enough that well, I'm very old, but I'm that old that I kind of like this kind of a thing that we challenge ourselves and we take ourselves away from the comfort zone. And that was even with this producer. It was the only thing when we picked up or starting to look for the producer for this album. It was the only thing I wanted that it's not a metal producer who has been doing 100 of this same kind of who actually doesn't understand anything about this kind of music. And that was the main thing for me that I didn't want somebody who has done 100 Dead Doom albums or whatever. So in that way he was perfect because he's more of a like almost like a like a pop producer almost. So I knew that he's gonna bring out something. He's gonna hear different things. He didn't touch the music basically at all. Everything is 95% the same. That's on the demos that I delivered him. So, but he like he was more into the dynamic, like that power that it's powerful, and he brought the melody on the front because the songs are super melodic. So he really brought them in the front. Okay, now somebody's coming through the wall, so sorry about that.
Oh, I totally understand. I live in an apartment over here in the States, and I hear someone vacuuming right outside my door, so I completely understand.
Okay, I don't know how loud this is gonna get, but I hope you can hear me.
Oh, right now it still sounds clear, so
Okay, good.
everything should be good. But and speaking of clear, going back into that, that's something I really do love about this album is I really love the production and the tones that's going on with it. I mean, it's not drastically different, but it's just like I can hear things like as a drummer myself, like I'm hearing a little bit different bass drum tones. I'm hearing a little bit different cymbal effects that are going on. I can hear those little nuances going on there, and I'm sure that's also the case with the guitar and the bass and keys and vocals and everything else that goes along with that. But I love the fact that you're able to work with someone, especially with the resume that he has, and he was able to make everything sound the way that you wanted it to, and adding just a little bit of what he thought that he could add to the dynamics and the power and everything to it to create such an incredibly wonderful listening experience. Whether you like the music or not, of course, up to taste, but just production wise, I love it.
Yeah, well, it was actually we gave him super free hands to do. That was the whole point to get this kind of a producer who comes outside of this whole music genre and how things should sound and how things should be. That was the main thing. So we didn't want to go like, stop it, don't do it like this. Of course, there was a little tweaks here and there that but we kind of like we okay. That's why he is here and he's producing the album. That because he's gonna hear it quite different than what us will hear. So we gave him quite free hands to do things, and like you can hear with this new album is that usually I'm very strict with the stuff, with the soundscapes and everything, and I do a lot of things, and I do lots of keyboards and violins and all kind of things, and here and there, and but yeah, you can see that he comes from the different world, because for him the main thing is the melody on the middle of, in a way, the melody, and then the beat, because so he's not doing them, he's not mixing for musicians in that way. We all musicians, we are very anal, like, oh, listen to that, yeah, that kick drum, or that snare, or that guitars, or whatever, this kind of thing. And it's our curse, like, as musicians, because we can't listen to songs almost anymore. We're just listening to the sounds and all that kind of things. And at the end, it doesn't matter anything. It's the song that matters. In that, of course, it matters. But I mean, what 99.9% of the world just listens the melody and the beat. Unfortunately, in many ways, but still, so you can hear that he is more that kind of a pop producer. So the melody and the vocals and the beat super loud, and then everything else is extra in a way. So and I love it that he brought this kind of a very very kind of like it's very powerful, because the songs are very powerful, at least for me, and that was what I hope from this album to sound like also. So we don't go back to our safe zone and make everything very silky and smooth, and this big palette of things, and like a, so that's why we wanted this guy, and he definitely delivered with it.
Oh, absolutely. It just continues on with the dynamics of the band. It just continues on with the power, like you're mentioning. And of course, the melodies, which, especially for any first time listener of the band, I think the melodies are just going to strike them so very hard, whether they've checked out the single so far or they're waiting for the album to come out, or maybe they'll get a recommendation when it comes out. Whatever the case is, like, I really feel like the melodies on this album are just going to strike everybody hard the first time.
Well, they're gonna strike in a way or another, but of course, have to be realistic in the way that anyways, this is like underground music in many big ways, and when the tempos, the album is still not fast or anything like that at all. So again, going back to the teenage years, play faster, it's gonna be easier. Yeah, always play lots of solos, it's gonna be easier. So both things that we're not doing. So we're not taking the safe route in that way. So it's not the most accessible music, and it doesn't have to be. I've never been writing anything thinking that, oh, would be more accessible in or whatever. But that's the part when bands start to go wrong, I think. If they start to think, of course, if it comes out naturally, that's great. But yeah, we should get up the tempo a lot, and we should start to play a lot of solos. Well, there is quite few solos in this new album, but they are quite melodic also, and there's not that many. Unfortunately, we will sell more merchandise if we will have more kick drums and more solos, for sure.
And it's like I really love a good technical shredding solo when it calls for it, but
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
the solos that mean more to me are the ones that you can sing along to, the ones
Mm.
that like you can hear every note, whether how dissonant it is, whether the pattern of the notes that's going together, just trying to create something beautiful or haunting or whatever the case is. But when you focus on solos like that, to me, those are always going to be more memorable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think wherever we have any, well, we have of course lots of melodies, like guitar melodies. We have shitloads of them. Of course, always been in the band, and it's always been very melodic band. But when there is a solo, it somehow, for me, it has to go align with the overall melodies of the song and everything. So it's not just suddenly just like showing off how fast you can shred or whatever. That's yeah, that doesn't. It's very. That's not a good thing in my mind. Of course, it's great to hear. Oh, look, listen to technique and everything and everything. But hey, I mean, it's not a sport, or the music shouldn't be a sport in that way. That
Yeah,
um,
I definitely agree. So, going further into this,
hmm.
obviously after the recording and everything, press starts to happen, and of course, the biggest thing that comes along with it is the release of the singles. Like, how hard of a challenge was it to decide what singles were going to be off the album, what videos you wanted to make? Like, how did that come together?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard. And of course, like the first. these first singles, especially these first three singles. The fourth one is going to come out on the album release date. So there's going to be like four singles all together from this album, and especially these first three ones, they are very short songs that go straight into the business, almost very very melodic, kind of like and like there's a longer songs in an album, and actually the beginning of the whole album is more like in a style of these singles, and well, they are all in the beginning anyways there basically, and then the album starts to get more a little bit slower and more doomier towards the end, and that's on purpose also. So you kind of like, yeah, you give a good hit to the nutsack in the beginning, and then it goes a little bit more, calms down and it gets a little bit more doomier. So and then so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, people are very eager to always, but no matter what band it is or what album, there's lots of people think that when they hear the singles that, oh, this is the whole album, oh, it's going to be like this. And especially in our case, we'll think that people already know many that, is it going to be only like this, or is it's because it's always going to be like totally different ends in our albums, which I love actually about that. We don't have those limitations that when it starts with a fast beat and it ends with a fast beat, and it's been the same thing from start to end, or it's super slow from start to end. That also starts to kind of like, for me, get super boring in that way, that I really need to have a kind of like a roller coaster with the music.
Yeah, yeah, and I was wondering if the track list was intentional in that way to like kind of show off like the singles first and then go a little bit deeper when it comes into that, which I think is a really smart strategy, especially if you're trying to bring new people in who might be interested in this kind of sound. Also to kind of show off where you are in 2023, 2024, and what to expect for this album cycle. And then when you actually get to listen to the album and you start to hear some of those signature trademarks start to come in, some of the longer songs, some of the slower tempos, uh, especially for me, like being such a longtime fan, like the second half of the album is what's really been grabbing me the most. Like I can really feel the emotions that are coming through there, and just so many of those melodies that I love so much. But that's not to say that the first half did not suck me in immediately, and I just loved hearing you explore all of that. And it's just great to have those dynamics on an album like that. And track listing is so important when it comes to that, and I'm glad that that was a thought about it.
Yeah, it was thought. You always have to, especially with the music like this. If all the songs were the same, who fucking cares? So it's actually very important, and I felt like this, and also the name Shining and this power that you feel from the music, and I really wanted to bring it on the front with everything, with the singles and with the album also. And yeah, we've been called a lot during the whole 25 years of the band that we are kind of like a gateway drug to the doom metal, in that way that shitloads of people been finding the similar bands than us from the genre, and then start to listen to the doom. Even of course, the real doom people, they hanged us from the first album already, so no problem there. If somebody says that we are doom, yeah, they get super annoyed people, a lot of this. So, and I don't give a shit. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, because there's a lot of doom in the band. Like everybody who has a understands and been listening, they understand. And doom is not tempo, or it's not the style or anything like that. Like it is for a lot of people, and the puritanists. So it comes from totally different place. Like many Duran songs are doom for me. First Marillion albums from the 80s and everything, absolute doom. I mean, they're more doom than any funeral doom bands. If you really, I mean, well, for me. So I found the doom from the totally different place than how much fuss you have on a guitar, or how slow is the song, or whatever. Of course, it's a part, and a good part of the style. But yeah, we're kind of like a gateway drug in a way. So all the doom puritanists should be super happy that actually there's more people listening to the music through us because it's kind of like it's a little bit easier way maybe go through us to the to the super slow bands or whatever. So so everybody wins in that way,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And
or everybody lose
yeah,
when it's
well,
this.
there's also that
Exactly.
potential as well. But just to me, like when you talk about like genre and stuff like that, to me, it's just a description. It's just a descriptor of the sound. Like I don't think it's anything to take too seriously or not seriously. It's just like it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect, and then you make your own conclusions when you listen to it, which I
Yeah,
wish more people would do.
yeah, but yeah. It's a good and a bad thing that you have to label fucking everything in this world. I mean, it's good in the way that then you can go in a kind of right direction and find more things than having no, well, what is this music style? And then well, how I'm gonna find same kind of bands. That's a good thing that you put a label on music, but yeah, I'm not much with the labels.
Totally understandable.
Labeling, yeah, it's yeah. But then again, luckily I'm old enough and we've been going on long enough that we don't kind of like, yeah, we really don't care what kind of things we are expected to do or whatever. Yeah, it has to come from the from ourselves, from our heart, and then it's gonna be whatever it's gonna be.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And again, it's just like it's great to see all the great things that are happening with the band right now. Of course, with the album coming out in just a few weeks, and of course, a week or two back, you announced that you're coming back over here to North America on one of the best bills that I've seen in quite a long time. I'm so glad that this is coming together, and you guys are doing a full headlining tour over here again.
Yeah, it's amazing lineup for sure. Like yeah, Swallow the Sun, Harakiri for the Sky, Ghost Bath, and Snakes of Russia. I mean, I've been listening to Snakes of Russia. I haven't heard, you know, well, it's a one guy project. It seems to be amazing. I mean, amazing. So yeah, I'm really waiting for these gigs. So it's gonna be a great night. That's for sure. Or music style, thinking again, it's gonna be a terrible night, emotionally and physically also in that way. Uh, but anyways, yeah.
Oh
Yeah, we're
yeah, there's
very happy to come back for sure.
oh def
We love North America and actually, well, we've been touring a lot in North America from since 2007. We've been doing a lot. We've been touring a lot. So and North America is like I think it's if it's not the number one, I think it's number two, like the most the fan base in that way. So doesn't mean it's a lot, but you can see that we've been touring there a lot.
Oh, definitely. And what I love about how you guys keep coming back every time is that you constantly keep touring with different types of bands as well too, which I really think shows the appeal of Swallow the Sun and shows the musical palette, whether it's the music itself or just the bands that you surround yourself with at tour, because there's so many different bands that you've done shows with over here and of course everywhere else in the world as well too. But the fact that you could tour with Dark Tranquillity, the fact that you could tour with Harakiri for the Sky and it still makes the same amount of sense, I love that.
Yeah, we even toured with Creator and Accept in North America. I don't know if that was the best idea in the world, but
That
still,
would have been cool to me.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was an experience, I have to say. But then when you think about the Creator fan base and then Accept fan base, yeah, with this music style like us, it wasn't maybe the best idea in the world to do. But we're not afraid of that, and it's very good to go and tour with the different kind of bands because just touring with the similar bands, you're gonna get the same ears every time, which is great, of course. But it's kind of like it's nice that lots of new people who never heard even the music style, this kind of a music style, or they find out from the band, and so it's important to tour with the different kind of bands.
Oh yeah, and especially with this upcoming tour, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pain in it. I mean, especially when you look at the lyrics of all four bands, there's a lot of pain and torment that's going through there. But when you listen to each individual band, they all do their own different style of it, and you never want to get fatigued, especially as an audience member. You know, like listen to four of the exact same kind of sound for the entire night, because by the time the headliner comes on, you might just be tired of hearing that style of music. So the fact that it is so diverse between all four bands, it's just
Mm.
perfect for someone like me because I get a little taste of all these different styles that I love so much in one night.
It's absolutely. I mean, and the good thing about North America, you kind of lots of your like lineups on the tours. It's a different kind of bands, and that's amazing. It's not. I mean, even in Europe, it's more that it's a similar kind of bands on a well, at least before by in the States, it's that you're more used to it. That there's a like a different style of bands in a lineups, and that's great thing. Nothing is more terrible than listen like a 5, 6 death metal bands the same night. I mean, of course, if you absolutely love death metal or whatever metal, then it's good for you in that way. But I mean, for me, it almost one band of the same style, max 2 bands, and then that's enough for the night. Night. I don't even want to listen to Swallow the Sun more than 1 hour and 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then it starts to be enough for me also, this kind of a music. Even I play it our own songs, but I think that's so in that way to have the whole night of the same kind of style. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Oh, definitely. So going back into the album a little bit more, um, one thing that struck me the most is not just audibly what's going on, but visually with the album. I really find the album cover to be one of the most striking album covers that you've done. I mean, obviously, when you first look at it, it doesn't bring up the sadness necessarily that you see in a lot of the previous album covers, but when you really look at it, it just draws you in. Like, was that the intent, or how did that come about?
Well, I mean, it's same thing like with the music. Suddenly, the image just comes to my mind. And and with this album cover, well, yeah, I mean, there's a moth. It's like a butterfly or moth. That's the basic thing with that, with the shape. And we had the moth in our old logo of the band for 20 years or something like that. We had a couple of different logos, but our oldest logo has the moth in it. Always had, and it's a kind of big part of the band. So that's the main thing is the moth. But then there's two swans. There's two swans passing each other, which was basically accident. I saw it when I saw the ready cover when because it's a photograph. It's a real photograph of the hands that was done there with this style. And yeah, so there's two swans, which is very is that has a lot of meaning for the band. And through Hallatar, of course, and the other my thing, the album, and also Sleepless Swans, the old song, and it's been lots of swans in the lyrics. And anyway, so and then of course, this is this is an album that is played with the real hands. It's not any AI stuff or any like so yeah, it's played with the real human hands, this album. And anyways, there's some kind of a power on that image with the diamonds and everything. I had this idea that was gonna be that the hands would have been cut open or tattooed like lyrics from the album, but I wanted to keep it clean like that, and kind of like yeah, I think it's 100% they go together, the Shining name and then this album cover.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm looking at my clock right now and I see I have less than a minute before Zoom's going to cut off. But I just want to thank you so very much again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of this. This is an interview I've wanted to do since I started doing interviews 13 years ago, and it's just incredible I've gotten to talk to you, like really get into your psyche about your songwriting process, about how Swallow the Sun works, what to look forward to in the future. And of course, Shining, which is easily one of my favorite albums of 2024, and I can't wait to talk about it more, show off this interview. And again, I'm so gracious for your time to be able to talk about all of this.
Thank you so much. Love you, and I hope to see you yeah, on the next tour. Well, it's not the next. Next is Finland, but then States.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to
If
try to
you're not
make that.
coming to the 70,000 tons of metal where we play with the ballet,